A strange mummified body was found in a pyramid, and some say it's an alien. Ancient writers claimed Egypt once had a massive underground labyrinth with over 3,000 rooms, so complex it could rival the Great Pyramid, but where is it now? And just recently, ground-penetrating radar near the Great Pyramid revealed something strange underground, a mysterious L-shaped formation. These are more discoveries made inside the pyramids that could change history. A supposed alien mummy found inside an Egyptian pyramid. According to the article, the creature was discovered near Lahun in a pyramid tied to Pharaoh Sanerset II from the 12th dynasty. The thing was about 5 feet tall and supposedly over 2,000 years old. Now, the story came from anonymous sources. Someone from Egypt's Department of Antiquities apparently confirmed it, but also didn't want to be named. The researchers said the mummy didn't look human at all, though, with huge eye sockets, a narrow face, tiny mouth, almost like a reptilian alien. And near the body, they supposedly found inscriptions calling it Osirinet, which they said meant something like sent from the stars. Of course, a lot of people think this is just a hoax. I mean, nobody's really taken credit for this discovery, but if it was real, it wouldn't be the first time a weird-looking mummy turned up in Egypt. So legend goes, there's a massive underground labyrinth in Egypt that nobody can find. Ancient writers like Herodotus and Strabo swore it was real. They said it was located near the pyramid of Amenemhat III at a place called Hawara. According to Herodotus, this thing had over 3,000 rooms. 3,000! All connected through tunnels and chambers, and such a confusing layout that people would get lost inside. Herodotus claimed it was so impressive it rivaled the Great Pyramid itself. Statues, kings' tombs, decorated halls, it was all in there. Strabo also backed up the story, saying it was the most complex structure he'd ever seen in Egypt. But nobody knows where it is now. Something earthquakes might have collapsed it, but whatever the reason, it seems to have just vanished from history. But if the place ever gets uncovered, it could be one of the biggest finds in ancient Egypt, no question. And speaking of, news of this just came out recently, and it could be a big deal. A group of researchers from Egypt and Japan used ground-penetrating radar to scan part of the Western Cemetery near the Great Pyramid. That radar works by bouncing waves into the ground and measuring what bounces back. Kind of like sonar, but for dirt. It helps build a 3D map of what's underground. Anyway, they picked up a patch of land that looked totally empty. No tombs, no visible structures, but something felt off. The ground density didn't match the rest of the area, and sure enough, radar picked up 2 underground structures, one shallow and one deeper. The shallow one is shaped like an L, about 33 by 49 feet, and just under 7 feet below the surface. The deeper one, around 30 feet down and a bit smaller. What really got them excited is that these shapes don't look natural. The lines were sharp, and the way they were laid out made it seem like they were built intentionally. Right now, they're still trying to figure out what exactly is down there, but if it turns out to be some kind of hidden complex, it could lead to a bunch of new discoveries. Most of us have seen photos of the pyramids, but one guy got a view hardly anyone ever sees. From above. His name is Yanis Terzis, a paramotor pilot who flew over Egypt's most famous landmarks, including the Great Pyramid of Giza. And the footage is pretty insane. At one point he gets really close to the pyramid's tip, like foot almost touching it close. You can actually see symbols etched into the top. Yeah, it turns out there's writing up there. I had no idea. Most people stay high up during these flights for safety reasons, but Terzis wanted the shot, so he dipped low to get that amazing view. Near the Pyramid of Djoser, archaeologists found 24 giant black stone boxes carved out of solid Aswan granite, material so hard that even modern tools struggle with it. These things are massive too, each weighs over 100 tons, and they're shaped like coffins. What makes it even weirder is that some of them have smooth finishes and detailed hieroglyphs etched into the surface. That's incredibly hard to do even now, so how ancient builders managed it is anyone's guess. Some believe they were used as sarcophagi for sacred bulls, but if that's the case, it's odd how much effort went into making them look almost machine-cut. The level of precision is really what throws people off. It just doesn't match what we expect from that time period. That's why some people think the Egyptians had access to, advanced technology that's been lost to time, or maybe never even came from here in the first place. For years, people have wondered how the ancient Egyptians moved these massive stone blocks to build the pyramids. One theory has always been that they floated uncovered them in on boats using a now lost part of the Nile River. Well, in 2024, researchers may have actually found it. A team from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington used satellite radar, old maps, and underground scanning technology to piece together evidence of a hidden river branch buried under desert and farmland. They're calling it the Aramat branch. Aramat means pyramids in Arabic, and it lines up almost perfectly where 31 pyramids were built thousands of years ago. The river probably got buried by sandstorms and droughts over time, which is why no one spotted it before. But back when the pyramids were going up, this waterway would have been right there, basically like a construction highway. According to the researchers, it would have made hauling those huge blocks way easier. They could just use the river's current instead of dragging stuff across the desert. In 2020, archaeologists hit the jackpot in Saqqara just south of Cairo, and they found 59 sealed sarcophagi buried in 3 vertical shafts. Most of them still had mummies inside, and they were over 2,600 years old. As for who was buried, there were priests and other high-ranking officials and elites from ancient Egypt. Egypt's antiquities minister at the time, Khalid El-Anani, even opened one of the coffins live in front of reporters. You can hear him in the footage saying it's completely sealed, hasn't been opened since it was buried. So that's over 2 millennia without anyone laying eyes on it. They also found 28 statuettes of Ptah, who is the god of craftsmen, and a bronze statue of the god Nefertim. That one had a name engraved on it, a priest called Badi Amun. So yeah, this is a big one. In March of 2025, researchers from Italy and Scotland announced they'd use satellite radar technology called synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, to detect what looked like a large underground complex deep under the Giza pyramids. According to them, this complex includes shafts, chambers, and spiral tunnels that could stretch over 2 kilometers long and go as deep as 2,100 feet underground. The team said it might be some kind of ancient subterranean city or network connected to the pyramids, but some experts, including Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, have strongly rejected this, saying that SAR technology isn't reliable enough to see through that much rock and sand that deep down. On top of that, the findings haven't been published in any scientific journals or gone through peer review, which means other scientists haven't been able to check to confirm the results. Radar experts have pointed out that the images might just be natural underground formations or errors caused by how radar signals behave underground. So because of this, most archaeologists consider the story to be unproven and even misleading, but I'd love to see a project get funded to actually dig down there and see what's going on. I mean, with all the mystery surrounding ancient Egypt, you really never know. The SciDep collaboration, SciDep standing for Science and Innovation for the Development and Exploration of the Pyramids, started a new project in 2025 to scan the Khafre pyramid using muon detectors. Muons are tiny particles from space that constantly hit Earth and can pass through stone, but they get blocked by more denser materials. By measuring how many muons get through different parts of the pyramid, scientists can create a kind of 3D X-ray image of what's inside without actually digging. They set up detectors inside the pyramid's burial chamber and outside around the base to get multiple views. This method builds on earlier muon scans done at the nearby Khufu pyramid, where a large unknown chamber called the Big Void was discovered. We covered that in part 1. The goal of the SciDep project is to find any other hidden chambers and tunnels inside Khafre. The project is ongoing, but it'll take time before the results are analyzed and shared. A research group using something called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography, basically a type of advanced underground scanning technology, claims they found 8 massive shafts buried deep under the Khafre pyramid. Shafts that go down around 2,100 feet. Along with those, they said they picked up signs of 5 strange pillar-like formations shaped like the ancient Egyptian Djed symbol. The Djed is a sacred symbol in Egyptian mythology that looks like a column with a stack of rings or ribs near the top. It was associated with the god Osiris and symbolized strength, stability, and the idea of eternal life. Along with those, they found some cube-shaped chambers. There's a lot of doubt surrounding all of this, though. The radar they used can scan through ground pretty well, but detecting very specific structures that deep through thousands of feet of rock and sand is pushing the limits of what it can do, and on top of that, nobody's actually excavated the area to confirm anything, so for now, archaeologists are calling it a cool possibility, but without proof, this one sits in the maybe pile for now. And that's gonna do it for now here. I'm your host, James, and I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.